going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to get jacked. Oh wait, wrong channel. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys one of the weapons that I used quite a bit towards the beginning, early stages of this game as I was playing it, and quite frankly, one of my favorite weapons in the game. And that weapon is the Nazeistras Devotion. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I said the first part of the name right, but whatever. We're just gonna go with that for the remainder of this video, the Nazeistras Devotion. So it's a hand cannon, and let me tell you, if you're like me and you're into seeing juicy numbers, you're gonna like this weapon. So this build is pretty much gonna show you guys how to maximize the amount of damage that you can do with this particular hand cannon. So without wasting time, let's go ahead and get straight into this. All right, guys, so we got the Nazeistras Devotion. Now, you know, just like every other video we do, we're going to go ahead and go over the Nazeistras Devotion's unique ability. Because this weapon is a ultimate weapon, it's going to have a unique ability. So the unique ability for this weapon is called Fanaticism. It's called Fanaticism. So anyways, so Fanaticism, what it does is on hitting an enemy weak point, inflicts the unique ability Devotion Mark on the target enemy. On hitting an ally, that ally's shield is restored at the cost of your MP. If your current MP is less than the MP cost, an effect is not triggered. Basic information, our aim recovery speed is minus 7.5%. So once you aim in and then you stop aiming, it's 7.5% slower. Devotion's Mark is duration for 3 seconds. The defense, when you have Devotion's Mark, well, their defense, the enemies, whoever has the mark on them, their defense is minus 15%. So you get 15% weak point, or not weak point. They have reduced defense by 15%. There we go. If you go ahead and get a weak point shot. Now, on hitting an ally, the MP cost is 80, and the shield recovery is only 15%. So this particular unique ability isn't all too great for the standard DPS character. The only time that this is really somewhat quote-unquote useful, if you're looking for the shield recovery aspect of it, is good for, well, nobody really. I'm gonna keep it a stack. I mean, 80 MP, it's kind of brutal if you keep, if I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. But I will say, even though the healing aspect of this is actually dog water, Devotion's Mark itself is actually really good. So if you see, minus 15% to the target who has Devotion Mark on them, on their minus 15% defense. That's actually pretty good. You know what I mean? So you can that 15% defense goes a long way, and you'll see that when I show you this weapon's damage. You know, to have a hand cannon hit 1,000,000 damage. Well, I'm spoiling it for y'all. Dang, that's crazy. Anyways, so that's Fanaticism. I didn't have to use Google to pronounce that correctly. So we're going to go over the base stats of this weapon. So let's go ahead and check out the base stats up here. So the weapon's firearm attack is a base of 38,461. That's pretty nice. Fire rate is only 150. Not the slowest weapon in the game, but not the fastest. Magazine size is only 8, so that's pretty small. Your reload time is 1.5 seconds, pretty nice. And your firearm critical hit rate is a base of 36%. With a 2x critical hit damage multiplier. So where were we at? 36% critical hit rate, 2x multiplier, critical hit damage multiplier. You got your burst. Now, your status effect trigger rate, okay, that's cool, 6%, but I mean, you only shoot one bullet at a time, so we're not worried about that. Now, your weak point damage is at 1.7x multiplier, so pretty nice. The rest of these don't really matter. I mean, they matter, but they don't really matter. Now, I want to show you the stats that I have rolled on this weapon. We have Toxic Attack, Firearm Attack, Weak Point Damage, and Critical Hit Rate. If we're being honest here, I don't want Toxic Attack. I want Critical Hit Damage. I just don't have the materials right now to roll it because this weapon was being really stingy for me, so it didn't want to give it to me. I want to get Critical Hit Damage. So if you can, go ahead and roll Critical Hit Damage, Firearm Attack, Weak point damage, and critical hit rate. That's what you want on this weapon. And if you copy this build and everything like that, you'll do more damage than me because that critical hit damage. So anyways, that's this weapon's base damage. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it's looking like. Just the raw damage real quick. So as you see, level 100. So check it out. So on a crit, nothing too crazy, 92,000. It's kind of buns, especially for a single shot weapon. Now let's go ahead and check out the mods, what you all been waiting for. And now, trust me, when I say you're gonna hit 1,000,000 damage, I wasn't lying to you. Under the right conditions, that is. So here's the build that we're running with. So we're obviously going to be running action and reaction, and we're going to go ahead and run rifling reinforcement. So we got a nice little 93% damage increase. So we get our 61% from action and reaction, and we get 32% from rifling reinforcement. Nice and solid. We're also going to run our critical hit rate, so that way we can increase that 36%, which is pretty nice. And then we're going to go ahead and get critical hit damage on top of that as well. So our critical hit damage is, well, concentration priority as well. Really quick. So if you look at this concentration priority right here, you see how it says plus 36% with the reload time. Now, if you look at general rounds and you look at concentration priority, it's 120%. So it's definitely, some mods are definitely nerfed when it comes to impact rounds and special rounds, just due to the simple fact that the base power of these impact rounds are generally higher with, you know, higher overall stats. So that's why they're nerfed a little bit, because it would be busted to have 200% critical hit damage on an impact round that has, you know what I mean? So anyways, concentration priority plus 36% critical hit damage, putting us at a nice little 83.8% critical hit damage multiplier. And because our base was 2%, it's just pretty good. We went ahead and went with weak point because, you know, this is the Nazeistras Devotion is, well, all impact rounds you really want to hit weak points, but as you've seen for the special ability, you can get 15% armor reduction to the target if you hit weak points. So weak point damage and accuracy is very important, so make sure you know how to aim. So after that, well, we have, I'll go over the other one in just a second, but after that, so we're going to have aiming. So weak point damage plus 40% and accuracy minus 20%. So with this on and alongside weak point sight, our weak point damage is 75% increase. Pretty good. Now, the downside of this is our accuracy is minus 20%. It is a single shot weapon, and it only has 8 rounds, so you don't really want your accuracy to tank. So what I decided, because this weapon comes with this R slot already, what is it? With the R slot right here already, I went ahead and just took advantage of that and went and put on an accuracy mod. And then I also got the one that's going to give us the critical hit damage plus 4%. So that's how we have 83.8 with 100% accuracy with this weapon. And I'll show you that in a second. Now, the last and final mod that I have on here is weak point expansion. So weak point expansion. So on weak point hit, weak point damage is plus 140%. Cooldown is 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds, you can get 140% extra weak point damage. It is so good. Yes, it's a 5-second cooldown, but it is beautiful. So there's that. Now, if you see, there's an empty slot here. And obviously, as you can see here, I could form another slot, which obviously I would not catalyze another slot and go ahead and put it onto here. So that way I can have space again to get another something. Now, this final spot is really up to you on what you want it to be. So you can either go, you could put a elemental status effect mod, like chill, fire, lightning, ice, or whatever you want, just to give yourself that little bit extra damage, which would be good, and it will do a lot of damage. So I would recommend it, especially if you get a weak point crit on top of the already, you know, increases that you can get. I would recommend doing that. Or if you're deciding, okay, we have a negative 30% reload time modifier because of concentration priority, you want to reload a little bit quicker, put a reload mod. Or if you want to try to get yourself an extra bullet or something in your mag, put, you know, magazine size on. I definitely don't recommend magazine size at all, but I would say either do reload speed or put yourself one of these enhancements mods, the elemental status effect mods. Personally, that's how you're going to really juice out even more damage with this weapon. So that's pretty much the build here. Let me show you the overall stats after everything is said and done. So if we go to the general info, not general info, but that's what I call it. So with everything incorporated, even our attributes rolled onto our weapon, our firearm attack is 78,652.74. Pretty freaking good. Fire rate's the same, magazine size the same. Reload speed will be slightly different. So I don't know why it doesn't show there, but it'll show here. we have a 1.95 second reload, so almost a 2-second reload. So like I said, if you want to put a reload modifier in that last spot, you can. I would just recommend the elemental mod instead for more damage. Our critical hit rate is at a 52.4%, so you know, pretty good odds. And our critical hit damage is a 3.676 times multiplier. Our weak point damage is a 3.179 times multiplier. So, and if you see right here, our accuracy is 100%. So that's the build. Now I want to show you what the build is looking like with no character buffs or anything of that nature. Now remember, before we get into this, I'm just gonna start blessing. But remember, on a weak point hit, you're gonna see some numbers fluctuating, but that's because of the mod that we have right here, this bad boy right here. So just remember that. So let's go ahead and look at some numbers here. 75,000. I couldn't really see what that was. Did I say 75,000? Toxic attack. You see that? 787,000. Now I want to show you Blair. Now, I probably say this in every single video, but I'm going to quickly run through the reason why I'm going to be using Blair for this. Now, Backdraft is Blair's Transcendent mod. What does his Transcendent mod do? So his Transcendent mod goes ahead and give us 24%. Now, this is max stats once you get all the requirements. 24% weak point damage with 18% firearm attack. And then we're also going to get ourselves a 10% critical hit damage plus a 14% critical hit rate. Tell me that's not satisfying. Tell me that number was not satisfying. Anywho, so alright, so at this portion of the video, I'm just gonna go ahead and I want to show you this weapon in battle. Not just in this place just hitting on, you know, anybody where I'm guaranteed to get headshots, right? I want to actually show you how this thing performs in a dungeon and what it's like, you know. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'll probably put a small little couple second clip of fighting a Colossus, just so that way you can see what this weapon's gonna do on, you know, a Colossus weak point. Just so you guys can kind of have an idea. Personally, I don't think this one's really gonna do too great in a Colossus, especially it's 8 bullets. You know what I mean? You gotta have superior accuracy and stuff like that. So I wouldn't recommend this for a Colossus fight, but you can use this everywhere else. This will definitely scratch that itch just to see fat numbers and get that satisfaction of one-shotting everything else. So if the build video was all you're here for, hey, you guys are freaking amazing. I love y'all. And what you think about the build? I mean, tell me that it ain't something cookie. Did I say cookie? Tell me it ain't cooking. So yeah, if you're out and you don't want to watch the gameplay or see this thing in action, hey, thank you guys for watching anyways. Please comment on the video, like it, subscribe to the channel if you're feeling a little frisky. Or, I mean, hey, if you're a gym bro, you gotta subscribe. But if you guys want to see this weapon in action, hey, I'm going to go ahead and slap some gameplay up in here right now. You guys are going to go ahead and see. We're going to run a dungeon. And like I said, I'll show you a couple second clip of the Colossus so you guys can see what the damage is going to be looking like there. Especially because, as we know, Colossus have some serious damage reduction. So, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.